Aisling had checked on the new kits to make sure they were fine before being sent to bed by their mothers. With the changing of the season coming, she could never be too careful of catching an illness too late. Returning to her small thicket of plants that were clumped together, she was met by a cat that shimmered like a star. Her instant Her instinct to yell in shock came and went, but she made no sound. "Please don't be scared of me. I'm your guide to what you're doing," the ghost cat would say gently. "My name was Povey. I was once a part of this colony some years ago. I now go by Hollystream. I will come to you with messages and upcoming events that may or may not involve you and the colony. It's up to you to interpret what it all means." The young healer would look the shimmering cat over, wondering how she was able to speak. She'd then focus on the word messages. "So, you come to us with messages? Like what?" "I'm so glad you asked," Hollystream smiled with eagerness. "It's time to put the proper names to those that walk the code that will be given out. You will know the code inside and out, as if you've been living it all your life. Teach it to the others. This also in turn gives you the authority to name those cats if they agree to follow the code." Hollystream would step forward to the healer and tilt her head to the side. "I'm still being directed in my own path of getting things sorted, but for right now, this will have to do." She touched her nose to the she-cat's head. "I, Hollystream of the Stars, call upon my star ancestors to look down on this healer. She has trained hard to understand the ways of a healer, and with our help, she will serve her clan for many moons. Aisling, do you promise to uphold the ways of a healer, to stand apart from rivalry between the clans and clan events, to protect all cats equally, even at the cost of your life?" Aisling felt her body tingling all over, as if a cold chill was running over her body. Her eyes would suddenly see other cats that were the same as her touching her with their tails or their nose. I do," she'd stammer out, looking at the glistening cat before her called Hollystream. Hollystream would smile. "Then by the powers of the stars, I give you your true name as a healer. Aisling, from this moment you will be known as Foxthroat. The stars honors your compassion, dedication, and loyalty, and we welcome you as a full healer of CliffClan." Foxthroat would look confused at the story cat. "CliffClan? Oh, yes!" Hollystream looked embarrassed. "There's a lot to say, but I've renamed your clan to be called CliffClan. Also, the king will not be Hegdard. There will be a new cat to be leader. Don't worry about all that. A test is coming for them soon enough." The healer felt a bit dizzy from everything and looked even more lost. "Okay, what, where should she start? This was all so new and unknown to her. What do I do?" "Just do as you've always done. If I know Hegdard, and as much as I've been watching, you'll see the true followers of CliffClan's future. Just watch." Hollystream would step back from the healer. "It's time I go back to my duties. I have a lot to get done. Just do as I told you and things will start to shift. Be it good or bad. I'll be the judge of that." Foxthroat would watch Hollystream and the other starry cats shimmer off into the night. She'd awakened to the bright rays of sunlight breaking through the spaces in the leaves. She got to her paws and left her den to climb to the tallest tree and yell out to the cats of the colony. Let all cats old enough to catch their own prey gather here beneath the curly tree for a clan meeting. All cats would perk from their duties in confusion. What was that call? Why? Sin and her sister Esme would be the first to come to the yowl, looking lost. What's going on, Aisling? Is there an illness? I'll get to that in a moment, once we get everyone gathered. It's very serious. Sin turned around and yelled with Esme. Everyone! Aisling has something important to say! One by one, the cats would come from all over camp and stare up at the healer. Hedgard would come in last and settle lazily into the grass. What's the point in waking us all up so early for? Who's sick now? I was given an omen from our gods. One came to me last night as I slept and told me things must change for the better. The healer would gaze at the cats below as they looked to one another with worrying curiosity. It's okay. No one needs to panic. If we follow what they have told me, then things will be good for us. Hegdard would scoff at the back. Gods, you say? Have you been eating too much of your herbs while testing them out again? There are no gods. Foxthroat would push through and ignore him. The rules are simple. Do you all care to hear them? Seoris would step forward, being the oldest leader within the colony. No one would doubt her words of command. Let's hear them, Aisling. I'm curious to what the gods have said. The healer would smile and feel the courage to continue. She'd tell of the code that the gods gave her to share. The cats all listened and with interest and curious gazes locked upon her. With all that said, I have a new name. I'm not Aisling anymore. I've been renamed by the gods. My name is Foxthroat, healer of CliffClan. CliffClan, Seoris repeated as she picked up the name. Is that what they've called us now? Yes, Foxthroat said, nodding. It's one of the many changes that's coming to us, and many others. If it's okay with you, can you go over the code again with us in smaller groups? That way, if any of us have questions, you can talk to us one-on-one, Seoris suggested. Even I am quite confused and lost, but I'll pick it up. Foxthroat nodded to Seoris. I will. I was thinking of doing that anyway. Can you help me gather small groups together for that? Of course, Seoris replied with a curt nod. I'm not one to refuse the god's will. Hegdard would burst into laughter at the back of it all. This is just a cat's drug dream. You can't be seriously believing that. Seoris would leap into the tree next to the healer and cast a narrow glare towards the king. Maybe it's time I took charge of my clan. Her lips would twitch upwards, showing her teeth. I named this colony when it was first destroyed by our first king's loss. You dare stand up now to say such rotten words? You eat bad fish or something, Hegdard? The Burmese Tom would scowl back get to his paws, his exhaustion forgotten. You were never the one that led this colony. It was I who took it from the previous king. It's rightfully mine. Suddenly the colony wasn't snarls and growls. All eyes were upon him. Seoris, the strong-looking Ossicat, stood at her full height, along with her daughters, would all hiss with distaste towards the large Tom. Foxthroat would suddenly see what the Star Cat was saying. She'd feel the she-cat brimming with anger. I do believe it's time, Seoris said, and leaped off the tree to the ground below. She'd slipped the she-cats to stand before Hegdard. I've always felt you weren't really part of the colony. You felt very off. Now, if I were to bring up the Solace? The she-cat would look pained in the name. He was far better than you in every way. Hegdard would suddenly give her an enraged hiss and arch his back, furious. How dare you bring up old kings in my presence? Stop showing me this disloyalty! No! Yelled Iobin. How dare you feed us lies all this time? My father was a great cat. You dare to compare yourself to him. You can't! The she-cats would all yell out in their anger and rage. Hegdard would return the yell at them. This isn't your place to speak! Saros would give a quick leap and a strike at the Tom, making him leap back and rear with a strike on his own and hiss. You're outnumbered, Hegdard. Get out! Hegdard knew he was in the precipice of defeat, but he clung to what Lily had left. I'm not leaving. This colony needs a king. You throw me out, you'll have nothing. That's fine, Foxthroat called out above everyone else as she climbed to the upper limb. The gods are deciding a new leader for us. A proper one at that. You're not needed anymore. It was like a wall had been taken down from between Hegdard and the she-cats. The queens would throw themselves at him furiously. The Tom would leave him bound as best as he could, claws raking down his legs and back trying to stop him from escaping. The Burmese would spin around to defend himself with claw swipes and yowls before being tackled off the cliff edge by Saros, who sunk her claws into his neck and chest. The queens would peer over the edge with worry before streaming around and heading down the bush and sands to meet the pair, battling on the rocky coastline. The queens would give aid to their fleet huntress, pushing the Tom to flee again. They would chase him out of the territory and further. Within the thick forest, Saros would call a stop to the chase, letting the tattered and bleeding Tom run on. We've done enough. He knows not to return. The queens would all sniff and turn to follow the lead huntress back to the camp. As Foxthroat saw the she-cats returning, she felt relief wash over her. The cats were all laughing at the battle and how Hegdard had tried to defend himself. Foxthroat would leave the tree and jump to the ground below to meet the older she-cat. Saros! Are you all right? The orange tabby would rub against the healer affectionately. I'm all right. I'll be bruised, but that felt really good. That's been a long time coming, chuckled Iobin. If only Father could see us now. He'd be proud of us all for showing that Tom a what for, Soanwala exclaimed in the throng. Saros would look to the healer, taking up a serious stance. All right, we're ready to learn more. Foxthroat felt all eyes on her, but this time it felt different. Okay, before we do, let's get a dawn patrol going first. Afterward, we'll meet back here with the prey, and I'll discuss things further. Foxthroat went to the gnarled tree and called for a meeting. Each cat came as they recognized the call. Foxthroat explained why she'd called the meeting, and the cats were excited. After naming each cat, she instructed the other cats to chant their names to welcome them into the newly forming clan. It allows others to feel at home and welcomed. Finally, it was done. Everything she'd been asked to do was finished. As she was checking herbs, Cinderpelt would walk in with Frostpelt and Sleepberry. Foxthroat would tilt her head at them. Something wrong? The three cats would look to each other, wanting someone to speak up. I get it, Foxthroat said, having read their looks and the energy. Yes, it's okay. If you don't like this, you may leave. Frostpelt heaved a sigh and groaned. Thank the gods. I thought we'd be forced into this for good. I like my name and all, but I just don't like where this is going. No offense. Cinderpelt would go over to Foxthroat and lick her shoulder. It's all really amazing, but we're just unsure. Once we know for sure, we'll come back. Foxthroat would nod to her. I understand. It's all right. The three cats would turn and leave. Foxthroat would follow them to the edge of the camp, where they'd enter the beach and head off. That wasn't all. Swanstone and her two kits had left, along with Shadowkit, Fawnkit, Fadingkit, Quietkit, and their mother Lilyfur. Foxthroat and Leopardstorm would look at the small remaining amount of cats that made up CliffClan. The gods did say something like this would happen. Before they all left, I had sent an illness of green cough on all kits. I'm worried that they might perish, Foxthroat said, licking her chest fur in an attempt to calm down. Leopardstorm would lean against the healer supportively. It'll be okay. This colony has had so few cats before. Back when it first was created, it was only I, Jas, and Thessalis. Look how far we've come since then. Probably put out 6 litters or more that now wander lands all over. Those that are strays will not get their star name. They must be given it by the healer that has been spoken to by the gods, Foxthroat explained as she'd watched the remaining kits play together. She'd gaze about the camp and note its odd placements of nests and eating area. There's a lot of changes to still be made. Leopardstorm looked at her, not knowing what she meant. Like what? The camp needs to be organized. There's an image in my head that I feel that I need to follow. I'll be doing that this week, and hopefully it'll be done by the middle of Greenleaf. The dark red tabby explained as her golden gaze looked at Leopardstorm. The older she-cat would look over the camp and nod. I'll help you. I've got all the time in the world. The two would set to work setting things up and began gathering plants from the beach and the forest to replant in the areas that marked the corners of certain places in the camp. Their territory was quite big and allowed for the cats plenty of places to rest or find a place to be alone when they needed it. Foxthroat would settle in a large gnarled tree to look over the camp and survey their work. Their plants that had been replanted were starting to have new growth. Hopefully, by the end of Greenleaf, there would be enough foliage to block out the chilly cutting winds from the sea. There was still a lot of work to be done, until Plumflower had a new litter of kits. As summer came, Leopardstorm could feel her age in her bones. As she sat on the cliffside watching the waves, she would be thinking back to the days when she were younger. All those kits she'd raised right here on this land. Poppy Cloud would join her and settle right up against her mother. Thinking of the old days? Leopardstorm hummed, thinking back to when all my kits were just born and how busy everything was. I wonder how my 2 little ones are doing up there. I dreamt of them a few nights ago. Poppy Cloud would look at the partially cloudy sky as seagulls flew overhead. You haven't been the same since you lost those kits, Leopardstorm said, looking at her daughter. Though what happened isn't your fault. It was nature taking its course. When those kids died, we weren't in great shape as a colony even then. Though I have a feeling we'll be in better shape pretty soon. There's no doubt we'll be in better shape. Foxthroat, the gods that have spoken to her, new kits to start the clan off with. Things are already looking up from what it used to be. Poppy Cloud would look at her mother's worried gaze and nuzzle her. I'll have more kits. I wasn't sure when. I want more now. Leopardstorm purred, nuzzling her daughter. I'll be here to watch them. Who knows, maybe you'll have one last litter as a farewell gift. Poppy Cloud would nudge her mother playfully. Yeah, right. Look at you. The old queen would chuckle. Who knows, maybe Thessalis will return and I'll get to pass away with him. It was well known just how much Leopardstorm had loved Thessalis. Poppy Cloud placed a paw on her mother's. I want him to return and see you one last time. The 2 cats share a moment with one another as they enjoy the afternoon light fade away to their right. Leopard Storm watched as the younger cats would help the healer gather materials for their camp. It was starting to look like a proper place to reside in. That the storms that had been hitting recently had made progress slow. One of the dams got washed out and had to be remade. Foxtrot worked tirelessly each and every day trying to get her vision completed. Leopard Storm admired her strength when she was so exhausted. "We chose her well," spoke a voice, making the elder jump and look at whom spoke. "Much like the decision that we're making now." Leopard Storm gawked in surprise at what sat beside her, a shimmering cat that was cloudy with milky blue eyes. "Who?" The starry-pelted cat would chuckle, tilting their head at her reaction. "I'm the one that spoke to the healer Foxthroat. I was Povey, but now I go by Hollystream. It's nice to see you again, Leopard Storm. Or should I call you Sayors?" The elder looked taken aback. "Povey. It's good to see you again, old friend. I've not forgotten you. What happened to you was so sudden and tragic." "It was the stars' will. They chose and do what they feel they should. We must have followed them." The starry cat would slowly become clearer to Leopard Storm's gaze. "Maybe this will help you a bit more?" In fact, it did. Povey looked just like any other living cat and sat smiling at the elder. Leopard Storm would lean over to nuzzle her in a welcoming gesture. "That does help. Thank you. Your eyes and hearing are still good, but you don't have long before you come with me. Briefly, you will lead the clan, and you will give them the courage to continue its legacy. You are the spirit that burns within all of them," Hollystream said, looking back at the cats that went about doing their tasks. "You can see it clear as day. They respect you very much because you protected them when it was important. You faced the dangers that no one else would." Leopard Storm seemed to take a deep breath and exhale it through her nose as she'd look at the camp with the StarClan cat. "I've given them everything I had." "You've given them what they really needed, and that was guidance and a mother. You were a leader long before becoming a clan. It's why your life and your sacrifices will be the final turning point that everything needs." Hollystream would look at the aging she-cat. "You need to go to the place of the stars with Foxthroat to get your 9 lives. I and the others will be waiting." The elder would blink and look confused as Hollystream began to disappear. "Others? Who are the others?" The star-pelted cat was gone, and Leopard Storm would feel alone again. The elder would watch the healer direct the younger cats around the camp with seeds to plant. She'd rise and pat over to her. Foxthroat?" The healer would turn and greet the elder. "Leopard Storm! We're getting some seeds scattered to get some herbs growing. Since it's Greenleaf, they'll be full grown by the end of the season. I need to talk with you about something." The elder felt odd saying that. The younger cats looked curious and perplexed. Foxthroat would have the younger cats work on scattering seeds while the two walked away to talk. They'd step out on the beach. Leopard Storm would immediately burst into talk about the cat that had come to her. Foxthroat looked eager to hear it all, her eyes lit with excitement. "This is great, Leopard Storm! We'll get things ready and head there." "Do you know where to go, though?" the elder asked, feeling like it was all a dream still. "Yes, Hollystream showed me a few nights ago." The healer seemingly leapt for joy and raced off. "I'll get the herbs!" Leopard Storm stood there, not sure about herself, not sure about any of this. What she was sure about was the fact that the she-cats were strong and fierce, and they were her blood. Of course, she would fight and protect them. She would fight to protect their future kits and future warriors. She'd snort and smile at herself, looking at the bright sky above. Maybe these stars were actually onto something. The healer and leopard storm would call a clan meeting. All cats would gather in the clearing to look upon the two she-cats that were perched on large pieces of driftwood that had been there since the beginning, leaning against each other from a long time ago forgotten storm. I, Leopard Storm, have been in contact from the stars. I will be going to the... She looked to the healer for help. Moonstream. It's on the other side of the river, northwest of here, Foxtrot explained. This is a place where only healers and leaders can go to speak to StarClan. No other cat can go there. It's a place of high respect. The cats below would stare up at them. Poppy Cloud, who was one of Leopardstorm's oldest daughters, would speak. There's cats that are dead, and they talk to you. Just the healers and leaders, replied Foxthroat. We will be leaving here, and then returning the next morning. I want Poppy Cloud and Juniper Storm to look after their apprentices. Plumflower, you stay with your kids. The cats would nod in return. Leopard Storm and Foxthroat would leap to the ground and begin making arrangements on leaving. After an hour, the two cats set off and loped at a brisk pace through the woods. New scents of the woods filled Leopard Star's nose with a crisp scent of pine needles and dry brush. Light filtering through the trees above dappled the floor that they walked. They had to be on guard for dogs or other cats. Things seemed pretty peaceful, though. They pushed through the woods and come across a clearing. Both cats scented the air, looking about and listening before heading through the tall grass. Quietly, they'd move on to the other side and enter the woods once more, where they'd break into a run. The smell of water hit the two cats' noses at the same time. They'd suddenly burst out of the woods at the riverbank and come to an immediate halt. The healer would turn left and head towards the loud sound of water getting roughed up. They'd move around boulders and rocks that trees grew within or between and come to their crossing. There was a wall of cement that water was held back by, but still allowed water to flow. The two left atop the rock wall and began to walk across it before jumping across rocks and down to the other ground below. This is the same path that we have to take to get to the gathering place. I think they call it Shimmering Rocks, Foxthroat said as she led the way. Leopard Storm scented the area, placing what she found in her memory for later. They'd move on and come to a glade-like place with the river running calmly while small outlet channels fed a pool of water. The pool seemed to shimmer with stars. Foxthroat would turn to Leopard Star. This is Moonstream. She'd point to a place that She-Cat could rest, go drink and lay down. You should fall asleep soon after. The elder would move and go to the edge of the shimmering water, take a drink from it, and lay down. Foxthroat would do the same and lay down a few lengths away from her. There was Hollystream, along with the figure made her gasp as she'd sit up. The Tom that she loved since the beginning stepped forward. The Solace! Her heart seemed to break at the sight of him. The pale cat would have a pained expression too. Don't cry for me. I was up in my gears when I met you. I'm very happy to be with you right here. I'm so proud of you and our kids. You are such a brave and strong queen. CliffClan will be led with a true leader. Leopard Storm would step forward and nuzzle him. I've missed you since the day you left. Nothing's been the same since. I'm I'm just glad that I now know where you are. Did you honestly think I'd leave you? Thessalis would look at the queen's eyes with a teasing expression. The queen would smile, closing her eyes. It would have been wrong of me to leave the colony behind and find you. I had to put our family first. Thessalis would purr loudly and rub his head against hers. So smart and caring. Hollystream would turn her head to look at the other cats that would join them. Welcome, Damar, Lucan, Brella. The cats would each greet the queen. Leopardstorm hadn't seen these cats in a very long time. Suddenly, several kits would come bounding out of nowhere, giggling and laughing. They'd each come to a halt before her. Hello, Grand Queen! Now that everyone's here, shall we begin? Hollystream would ask, looking at the gathered cats. Yes, they'd answer in unison. Hollystream would touch her nose to the top of the new leader's head. With this life, I give you courage. Use it well to show others how to stand up for what is important when things are scary or oppressive. Thessalis would step forward and place his nose to her head. With this life, I give you listening. Use it well to listen to your clan and others that may need your ear in their pleas for help or hard decision making. Brella stepped up and placed her nose against the elder's head. With this life, I give you faith. Use it well to show others that you must have faith and belief in things that are hard to understand. Have faith in what StarClan does or says. Finally, have faith in yourself and what you're doing, because you are doing what StarClan needs you to do. A kit called Casasus would have the elder bend down to touch her head with his nose. With this life, I give you mentoring wisely. Use it well to mentor those that are hard to understand or are stubborn. They may never get the chance to be seen or heard for who they truly are. Damar would step forward and place his nose against her head. With this life, I give you clear judgment. Use it well for when things are hard to understand and the truth is clouded by many other things. Hollystream would step back forward and place her nose to Leopardsword's head. With this life, I give you healing. Use it well for when you need to recover quickly to rejoin your clanmates in battle. Your help may be the deciding factor in changing the tides. Lucan would step forward and place his nose against her head. With this life, I give you adventure. Use it well to show others that life is full of adventures that must be faced to grow within and become more aware of what is around them. Thessalis would step forward again and place his nose to her head. With this life, I give you endurance. Use it well to show your enemies that they cannot lose you so easily. Mues, a tiny she-kit, would stumble over. Leopardstorm would bow her head to the kit to touch her head. With this life, I give you appreciation. Use it well to show your clan just how much you love and cherish them. What they do for you is a reflection for how they feel towards you. You appreciate everything and anything that StarClan gives you, for it is a gift that StarClan gave you. Since there is no previous leader of the colony, you are practically the very first one of it, Hollystream announced as the cats gazed towards her. I hail you by your new name, Leopard Star. Your old life is no more. You have now received the 9 lives of a leader, and StarClan grants you the guardianship of CliffClan. Defend it well. Care for young and old. Honor your ancestors and the traditions of the warrior code. Live each life with pride and dignity. Leopard Star would watch as each cat would bid her goodbye and bound off like a shooting star. She'd awakened to see that the time was now nightfall or moon high. She'd yawn and stretch, staring at the water's rippling surface. After a moment, Foxtrot would move and awaken to look over at her. Leopard Star. The elder she-cat would smile at the healer warmly. Let's go home. Let's return to CliffClan.